morning, good afternoon, good evening, Jar of Marble dwellers and Jar of Marble curious. My name is Linda, I'm Bob, and we're here from Jar of Marbles and so glad that you made it. This week we wanted to talk a little bit about messes a life. So many things can be happening at the same time, right? You can be happy and sad. It's okay to be confused and absolutely determined.
Can't say I like that feeling much at all.
Messes a life, Bob.
Oh, I know.
You're going along, minding your own business, and bad or surprising news is delivered. And depending on what it is, it can be annoying. It can, it can be life-altering.
You know, I watch so many crime shows on TV that when I turn off the TV set, I wipe my fingerprints off the remote.
Thanks for that.
That's all right.
One day you're saying how pleasant your life is, how much you appreciate everything and everyone in your life, and then boom, an event can destroy your equilibrium, and then you're scrambling to bring it back into some kind of order again. And once we feel that we get more information, we might be able to do that. But where the emotions are in the mix, it can feel impossible, especially when it involves a loved one. I've just got to remember to breathe. I've got all the tools I need, and I find I just want to love. Those that have rejected me, I only ever just wanted to love, like any of us. I think it is so important to share your gifts, and we all have them. There are special people that walk this earth that have zero idea what a difference that they make in people's lives. Some people have a reassuring way about them, don't they? And when combined with wisdom, it is so calming and helpful. Stress and worry is hard, as we all know, and having someone who can cut right through, well, they can just cut through all the nonsense and they just get straight to the point, and it can really be quite transformative. You wouldn't be who you are without what you have overcome. So that's where we've got to own our story. When we find ourselves in amongst a mess, you know, that really pinnacle point of hell, well, here we bloody well are, and probably here we bloody well are again. When we're here, we are healing. It can feel like pain, abandonment, and my natural reaction is to reach outside of myself for a way to alleviate me out of the situation, to just feel better. Could be food, could be a distraction, pick one. There are so many distractions that we can choose from now, isn't there? And if you feel like I do, being born into a family that you never did actually fit into, and you just never did, especially when you get spat out and that just confirms it all for you, like you were put in a slot that was never meant to be for you, a slot that you never agreed to. All I ever wanted was to have a happy family, and boy, did I try to create that. And that's what we tend to do when we go on to have our kids. Hopefully that's what we do. We try and raise our kids in a more loving environment. But you can't always do it on your own. And I was so unsure of the world that I felt trapped in. I wanted a better life for my brothers and sister, but by the time I could help them, it was just too late. They were too far gone. And how do you find a voice in a world that tells you to stay quiet? How do you find a voice in a world that tells you that it's untrue, that it's not that bad? For me, I had a voice, but I never met a soul that wanted to listen for the longest time. The friends I had didn't believe me and became friends with the enemy and will forever never know the truth. That becomes unimportant, that they just don't get it. It doesn't matter, but it does change you. You don't trust anyone anymore. You enjoy a little, but you just don't trust. So you rewrite your entire reality from the inside out, and that's why people that knew you cannot know you now, but for a number of reasons. Hashtag messes a life. This while Earth experiences moments where you may drop a few F-bombs along the way and with hands on hips wonder what the hell is it all for? What's it all about? My hope as always is there is someone listening to this nodding sagely and understanding that they're not alone, that this is also someone else's truth. It's not bloody easy. It's more than skin shedding. It's like losing your entire self to morph into someone else that you have to get to know too. I'm deep. I've always been deep. I have to deep dive on occasion because the surface gets too peoply and insincere at times. And I know the right ones out there will listen to this and go, yeah, I get it. It's like having a good check-in. How you doing? Up close and personal. A check-in for yourself. How many of us do this? Life can be messy when you find yourself worrying about your adult kids. But something I've learned about parenting older kids is that there aren't There are things that I cannot control. Their happiness, how often I see them, the decisions they make, their struggles. But there are things that I can control about my own happiness, how I live, and the example that I am to them. Even my wee hobby podcast, starting that when I was 60, I hope I have been able to model to them that life certainly doesn't stop at 60 and that it doesn't have to, that it's such an old idea, so old in fact.
And it's got a beard.
Exactly, Bob. So how I react to the struggles in my life, yes, in my control, how I support and respect and love them. When I learned to stop focusing on the things that I have no control over and simply believing in my kids, in this example, say, to simply live their own lives, I reminded myself that I had raised them to the best of my ability, that maybe I had actually raised them right. I wasn't perfect, but I did my best that I could do. And when they left home, I knew I'd done all I could do to help them fly. While life gets messy, and it does, I know worrying doesn't accomplish a thing. And another thing, even if it seems like they've forgotten that you did all you could, trust that they will one day come back to it. I'm here to say, especially to those that may feel like they've lost their purpose in life, I think that is a truly normal feeling when your life has been raising your kids and then they're gone. How else are you supposed to feel? Party! Well, yeah, that too, if that's your thing. Their story is not ours to write. # messes are life. There are crossroads to cross, to navigate. And one marble dweller had emailed me and was just talking about her experience with menopause, for example, and with her family, and asked me about that. So about menopause, for myself, I think I started around 45 and it stopped being so radically outrageous around about 55. I did as much research as I could and found zero in Australia that actually dealt with it sensitively, boldly, and, with a certain amount of education. There is much about that journey that is unexpected, and so many women who are not looked after with the grace that they deserve, the education that they deserve, uninterested, untrained doctors. Fortunately, more research is coming out, and I must recommend a company called Alloy. It's a company in America that is composed of doctors, urologists, and the tea on what is actually going on and how fantastic your life can be, instead of regurgitated rubbish about menopause. You don't have to live with it. Educating ourselves is key. It's important. And if you're talking to your GP who is telling you that you have to live with it, it is total bollocks. So on Instagram, I follow a urologist, and her name is Dr. Kelly Casperson, and she has a podcast called You Are Not Broken. And please follow this up if this is an issue, as it is for most women. And she is empowering women and the partners who love them to live their best midlives, combining the power of mind, work, body science, and relationships. And she just smashes societal barriers and the things that we've been raised to believe and we actually think is medically correct, and they're just so not. So Dr. Kelly Casperson, I cannot recommend her enough. So Casperson is a Casperson, Dr. Kelly Casperson. So look, there's many myths busted, and you can get your life back with a drop of estrogen and testosterone, and what a profound impact this has on women. You don't have to lose your glowing skin. You don't have to lose your libido. So much that we do not have to accept. One interesting fact is that, for example, testosterone has been sold as a male hormone, and what bollocks. Women have to have this hormone as well as it dissipates, so then kicks in all the symptoms of tiredness, short temper, unable to sleep, night sweats, day sweats, spending your life apologising to everyone. It is not your fault, and you are not crazy, and you're not broken. We have to educate ourselves, and if a GP is telling you that, well, that's just how it is, get another GP, because that is a flat out lie. The reality is men have Viagra, for example, and women have what? It is deemed more important that a man is to feel vital. What about us population creators? We are entitled to feel fabulous from the inside out. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Bob. This is an Australian company. Well, there is an Australian company that I've not been able to find out what their name is, but I've heard as yet. So who they are, but they are being watched by Dr. Casperson. And as an Australian, I am very interested in having my hormones measured to ensure that I am as healthy as I can be and vital as I can be. And that is definitely a hell yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I recall my husband and I had gone out motorbike riding with a group of other riders, and when we stopped for a coffee break, the subject of menopause came up, and one woman just suddenly turned around to her husband and said, "See, I'm not mad after all." And we went on to talk about her symptoms, and she just absolutely had no idea that she was menopausal and had never actually heard of menopause. Point was, though, she was so visibly relieved that she wasn't insane. Anyway, enough on that. It is a huge subject, but well worth bringing up. Hashtag messes alive. Another marble dweller asked about forgiveness. And when someone had totally messed up the friendship and had heaps of time, to get real, but didn't. Meanwhile, you're growing at the rate of knots and they're not growing with you. Now, while I don't wish ill on anyone, I forgive you, but you don't get a seat at the top table. You go live your life way over there and I'll live mine. A snake only sheds its skin to become a bigger snake. And if you couldn't trust them then don't you dare trusting them now. Cannot be bothered with the exhaustion that comes with trying to get someone to understand the truth of a situation when they are smack in the middle of it. So I'm calling bullshit.
Yeah, that's right, bullshit.
Yeah. Then they get all self-righteous and offended. So I say again, I'm rooting for you to succeed, but just do it way over there and stick to your story. If I'm questioning your loyalty, all is forgiven, but not forgotten. Standing by decisions that in turn protect you and yours, live and learn. Moving on, team, because we just don't need any more messes than is required, right? And I learnt that a long time ago, and sort of, to decline a call knowing I have no social battery left, saying no, needing alone time, walking away, wearing what I want, upholding a boundary. Man, life is messy. Yeah, it can be, and we can actually do something about it. We've all done some miles to get where we find ourselves, right? The good news, we will learn until the day we die. Nothing will stop me from being my true self. We can lose ourselves in abuse, and often it's not until we are far away from it all that we can see how we lost ourselves. And, it's just so sad. And I just think, kindness is the answer. And, I hope that if this is you, and I hope that you find a way to not give up on yourself or life. It's way too precious and way too short. And nobody has the right to guilt you, including ourselves. Well, yeah, that's right. We guilt ourselves too, don't we?
Yeah.
No, we do. And that's another sandwich to chew on, isn't it?
Sandwich?
Don't worry about it. Anyway, while keeping an eye on our good selves is worthy of your time and energy to ensure that you're not keeping up the bullshit that someone else instilled in you. I recall after 12 years of my first marriage, after 6 months away from his toxic ass, I remember thinking, wait a minute, I don't agree with that. And something else. That is not my belief. This and so much more as I came back to myself. So be a mistress of your own destiny. I tell you what, that sure feels good.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of us feel like giving up. Please don't. Start somewhere. Tell yourself that you are worthy. Start somewhere, that you deserve to be loved. Those thoughts feel much better than the garbage that we have told our good selves. As always, I hope fate has crossed our paths today and these words hit the right spot so you can start today. You are special and you are beautiful. Hashtag messes are life.
Oh, it can get really messy, can't it?
Yeah, it can, but life inevitably does get messy. And that's not only normal, but actually also necessary.
Necessary?
Yeah, for personal growth and meaningful experiences. Embracing life's messiness allows us to develop resilience. Once you've gone through a few little messy spots in your life, you think, okay, this is a season or a situation where I am growing, and you're growing when you feel incredibly uncomfortable. But if you're keeping your creativity alive, your empathy alive, it just tends to deepen your understanding and deepen compassion for yourself and others. And that's why the chaotic and imperfect aspects of life, while they're awful, they are also essential. So we grow through adversity. Messy situations, whether they're emotional, professional, or personal, push us out of our comfort zones, don't they? These challenges, they do foster resilience and adaptability. And that's why in your later years you might find people saying, gee, you're really strong, but it's just because you've been in a corner many times and, wow, here you are, still going strong, still living your life, because it does end. And when life is too orderly or predictable, there's little impetus to learn and change. Isn't that so true? It's in facing obstacles and navigating the mess that we discover our strengths, redefine our limits and grow. For instance, dealing with a breakup or some really bad news about your health or a loved one's health, a job loss or a difficult family situation can teach us about our capacity for healing, and perseverance.
And you, perseverance?
Shut up. I'm trying to say adaptability, adaptability. Oh gosh, I can't say it. Does it matter?
Not really. Okay. Why did the golfer wear 2 pairs of pants? In case he got a hole in one.
Good one, Bob. Thank you. So creativity and innovation. Creativity often thrives in chaos. I know myself when things get a little bit hectic, full on, things that are clearly out of my control and yet are making quite an impact on my life, in my life. Sometimes I've got to think outside the box and pull out the paintbrushes and just sit and paint something or read a book or find something to watch, and usually it'll either be something that's humorous or find something that I don't normally watch, because I think, again, when we're being put in these sort of situations, we can be very predictable in what we do, and if our habits are not great, it's sometimes it's helpful to go in a different way. So messy circumstances, they do force us to problem solve in unconventional ways, sparking innovation and creativity. You know, think about artists, writers or entrepreneurs. They often find their most groundbreaking ideas in the midst of disorder, you know, where they've made a major mistake, and out of it, you know, this messiness can encourage us to connect seemingly unrelated concepts, to experiment and to embrace failures as
Learning opportunities.
you got it, Bob.
Hey, what do you call a 3-legged donkey? A wonky, a wonky, boy, oh boy, a wonky.
It's really, really bad.
Well, I think it's quite good.
Well, you would. Authenticity and connection. Imperfection and vulnerability are the bedrock of genuine human connections. When we present ourselves as flawless, we build walls that prevent real intimacy. Embracing life's messiness means accepting and sharing our flaws and struggles with others. It helps others to be open as well. If you're saying, hey, you know, I failed, you know, abysmally at creating a better situation or painting something or drawing something or whatever it is, whether it's riding horses or building something, it helps others to be more open about what's going on with them, and then you don't come across as a know-all or someone that never seems to ever have a problem in your life, so to speak. But so that comes along with discovery and exploration, because life's messiness often leads to new experiences and adventures. Predictable and tidy lives can become monotonous.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Oh, absolutely. And I think when I look at different times where life has brought in, you know, real challenges, and the thing that bothers me initially always is that my nice, orderly, tidy life has been mightily disturbed, where, you know, I knew exactly where I was going that morning and what I was going to wear and, you know, what I was going to buy or do or experience. And then I'd just get in a little, you know, hamster wheel. That's how life was. And I think now and then these unpredictable doors can open to new opportunities and horizons. And even if it is just to have a little look at, you know, what are we thinking and believing? What are we actually doing in life that, you know, isn't helping ourselves or helping others? These messy paths are often the ones that lead to the most memorable and enriching experiences.
What do you call a person with no ears?
Come on then, Bob.
Whatever you like, they can't hear you.
It's not bad. And what about learning and wisdom? We gain the most profound wisdom, not from easy victories, but from grappling with life's messes. Mistakes, failures, and messy scenarios are powerful teachers. And of course, at the time, it never feels like that. It's getting in the way of what you otherwise, you know, would prefer to be doing. They provide lessons that cannot be learnt from textbooks or easy successes. The wisdom gained from navigating life's messiness contributes to personal depth and understanding, making us more compassionate and knowledgeable individuals. We can help others and soothe others and go, hey, this will pass. And while this is, a bit of a, ordinary experience, we can actually learn a lot. And it's usually in hindsight, we look back and go, you know what? I would never have met that person. I would never have had that experience. I would never have formed that opinion, or whatever it is. Just as we value light more after darkness, we appreciate calm and simplicity more after we've been navigating complexity and mess. And this contrast enriches our experiences and helps us to find balance and perspective in life.
Oh, that is so true.
I know, right? Oh, why not?
Yeah, why not? That's what I say, yeah.
Also, mental flexibility and openness. Life's unpredictability fosters mental flexibility. Boy, oh boy, that's quite a mouthful. I'm quite happy I got through it.
Yeah, so as I was wondering how you're going to go.
Oh, shut up, Bob. Being too rigid in a perfectly ordered world can lead to intolerance and a closed mindset. Oh, my goodness, that is so true. However, dealing with life's messiness requires openness to change and a willingness to adapt. Empowerment and agency. Facing and managing messy situations empower us. Each time we successfully navigate chaos, we build confidence in our ability to handle future challenges. And this kind of empowerment is a crucial aspect of our personal development, giving us a sense of agency and control over our lives, even when things get messy. And that is so true. So life's messiness is an essential component of its riches. Messes are life. It's in the messy, the chaotic moments that we find opportunities for growth, creativity, and genuine connection. Embracing the mess allows us to live more fully and authentically. Instead of fearing or avoiding the mess, we should accept it as an integral part of the journey, which it is, knowing that it's through navigating these complex situations that we become more resilient, wise, and deeply human.
Always wondered if you were actually deeply human, you in all your perfection.
Well, thank you, Bob. I'm sure that wasn't a compliment.
Well, yeah, it was, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, exactly, sort of, kind of. Thank you, fella.
It's all right.
It is without a doubt that in retrospect we are able to really understand the value of life's messes. The periods of disorder and difficulty often turn out to be the most meaningful chapters in our stories. They are the times that shape our character, deepen our compassion, and give us greater appreciation for the simpler, more ordered moments. That's so true, isn't it? Consider the narrative arc of any compelling story, whether it's in books, movies, or real life. The conflicts and resolutions, the highs and lows, or what the journey makes the journey memorable and worthwhile. Our lives are no different. The messiness is part of what gives our stories depth and richness. And now it's time to go.
How can that even be possible?
Well, it is. I want to thank you all, as always, for joining me, and thank you to those that take their time, the time to like this and leave comments. It's so very encouraging. So say good day to the family for me. Give the poodle a schnoodle, and we'll see you next time, okay? Okay then. Bye.
Bye.